Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
How much can you get for $70? Let's find out. Sam Sabri is an editor at Windows Central, and he has in his hot little hands this little phone. It's the Nokia 530. Hi, Sam.
How's it going?
It's going great. I know you've probably used every Windows phone out there. I used to have the 1520, which I loved. I played with the 1120. Those are both very high-end Nokia. Oop, did I say the word Nokia? We don't use the word Nokia, do we?
We say Microsoft.
Microsoft Lumia phones. These used to be Nokia. In fact, this one still says Nokia on the top. Is that going to be burned off?
It might fall off over time, just kind of fade away.
They are running Windows Phone, in this case Windows Phone 8.1, the latest version of the Windows operating system. Give us a kind of a rundown on this. I mean, this is not a, is this a phone, it is being sold in the US, this one's from Cricket, but it's a phone also intended for a global phone, right?
Right, so this is a phone for emerging markets where people don't go on contracts and, pay $99 up front and, pay a little bit every a few months for the next few years for a phone. This is where people buy a phone outright and use it for 2-3 years. So that's where people are more price conscious, and that's why Microsoft made a $70 smartphone running Windows Phone 8.1.
$70. There's got to be some compromises for that.
There are some compromises. You do get Cortana, but you make a few compromises, especially with the screen. You were noting earlier, it just doesn't look too good, and that's because it's missing clear back. Clear black is Microsoft's polarizer, which gives you better contrast, and it makes the screen look really good outside.
Yeah, all the old Lumia phones really, like the 1520 I used to have, popped. And they almost looked like OLED screens. These are not OLED displays?
No, this is an LCD on the 530.
Looks like a little bit of a washed out LCD.
Yeah, viewing angles aren't too good when you start, turning around a little bit, but straight on, it's not too bad, and especially when you remember it's $70, and that's how you have to approach this phone when you review it. This is a $70 phone. It's not a Galaxy Note 4, a Lumia 1520. It's something that you buy, and it's super cheap. Now,
I got to say, given that, Windows Phone runs pretty snappily on it.
Right, and so it's running. It has a quad-core processor from Qualcomm, the Snapdragon 200. Okay. 1.2 gigahertz. You can run most apps and games as long. It has 512 megabytes of RAM. So there are a few apps and games in the Windows Phone store that require 1 gigabyte of RAM or more, but those are very few, and for the most part, 99% of all apps and games in the Windows Phone store can run on this device.
Including Microsoft Office.
Right, yeah, you get...
That's pretty impressive. So there are games that won't work, but those are going to be the very high-end games that need a lot of RAM.
What we see is, a new game might come out. It might not work on this device, but a few updates later, they'll optimize it and it'll run on low memory devices.
Now, you said Cortana, the speech recognition system built into Windows Phone, works. Is it a full Cortana? Does the voice sound worse?
Yeah, no, this is Cortana. This is the same Cortana you'll get on the 1520, a $600 smartphone. Wow. And that's the one great thing about Windows Phone is it doesn't matter what price range you're buying at. The OS is the same experience across all levels. This is a Lumia, so you'll have a few exclusive Lumia apps compared to like an HTC One for Windows Phone. But for the most part, everything that you expect on the 1520 will run on the 530.
Nokia, when they sold the mobility division to Microsoft, kept the HERE maps, all the HERE products, but they did license them to Microsoft. Is HERE maps and HERE navigation on here?
You get HERE maps on here, so you can get offline map support. So this makes for a great travel phone. If you don't want to bring your super expensive iPhone to when you're on vacation where pickpocketing might be a little bit higher than when you're at home, bring the $70 phone for navigation, and if it gets stolen, it's not too much of a loss because you only spent $70 on it.
I guess you have to ask the question, how is it as a phone?
It's not too bad. So it's weird. My daily phone is the 1520. It's a high-end phone with the most high-end specs. And so when I spent the past week playing with this, it's a different experience. And there are compromises. There's no front-facing camera, no dedicated camera button.
Okay.
And it's not too bad as a phone. Going forward, I think I'll use it more as like a gym device. Take it to the gym, play music.
Small enough. It'd be good for that.
I won't worry if you drop a weight on it. You won't cry because it's so cheap.
It does have these colorful backs. I have blue. You have what was that?
I have green.
Green. Okay.
You can get orange, black, and white. And what's also cool too is the shells pop off.
Oh, neat.
And so let's see if I can do it. The shell pops off, and then you can get another shell. I'll put it on, and this shell has a flip cover.
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
So you don't have to buy a case and put it over the phone. You just replace the back, and the back already has a flip cover attached to it.
I have to say, it also feels like a very durable phone. It feels like a phone that I could drop and not worry too much about, especially with that flip cover case on it.
No, it's a great phone. You were mentioning earlier this would be a great kid phone, and that's exactly who I'd recommend it for. If you want your child to have a smartphone, but you don't want to spend a lot of money because they're a kid, they break things pretty easily, and this is the kind of phone for them.
Sam, does Microsoft have kid-friendly settings, parental controls, that kind of thing on Windows Phone?
Yeah, you can go into their account and set it as a child account, so they won't have access to certain parts of the web, certain apps and games. You can set it up so that they can't buy apps and games without your permission, and games will have to meet a certain rating, maybe E for everyone sort of thing versus a teen rating and so on.
And just to prove, kids can take selfies with this phone. I'm going to take one and another one. There you go. See? They just have to turn it around. There's no front-facing camera.
Right. No front-facing camera.
And this is 5 megapixels, this camera?
5 megapixels.
That's not bad. That's better than many selfie cams, frankly.
Right. It's fixed focus, though, so you won't be able to tap and focus. And so that's another trade-off for it being $70 is the focus is the same no matter what.
Now, I have to point out that as most phones for developing markets, this has a radio built into it. Mm-hmm. Is it dual SIM as well?
There's a single SIM and dual SIM model. I don't know which one you have. I have a single SIM, but
they have both. Okay.
Most likely in emerging markets, that's where you'll find the dual SIM. Here in the U.S., I'm not sure if the T-Mobile and Cricket version are dual SIM, but most likely I think they're single SIM. But when you go abroad, you'll find a dual SIM version.
You really don't need dual SIM in the U.S. I notice I'm on getting 4G right now, so it does support the 4G network. I think this is this is pretty sweet, I have to say. $70.
Yeah.
It's available in the U.S. from Cricket?
Cricket, T-Mobile. If for the T-Mobile version, you can't get. I couldn't find it on the T-Mobile website. You have to go to the Microsoft Store .com website.
All right.
And so cheap, $70. The extra shells are $10 each. You can get the flip shell version for $15, and they can match your outfit and your mood and stuff like that.
This matches my outfit just fine.
Just perfectly.
All right. Pros and cons.
Pros is cheapest way to get Cortana on Windows Phone. You can run most apps and games on it. Con, the display, not a fan of it. Of course, I've been spoiled by higher end displays. Low storage space. We didn't mention it, but it only has 4 gigabytes of storage. So you'll have to get a micro SD if you want to, install more games, apps, and music. No selfies is another con, especially if you're a kid, unless you flip the phone around.
Right. It does support SD cards, though, which is...
Right, up to 128 gigabytes. That's
something you can't say for all the flagship phones, I have to point out. So try, buy, don't buy. What do you think, Sam Sabri?
Buy for your kid. Yeah. Buy for yourself if you want a phone at the gym or when you're snowboarding, skiing, and you just kind of want a phone to make phone calls and, be stupid, maybe get it, crash and stuff. And, it's a great phone for that.
Yeah. It's a great burner phone.
Exactly. I mean, it's hard not to recommend it when it's $70 and you get a good experience. There's worse ways to spend your money.
You can't get a meal in Petaluma for 2 people for $70.
No.
The Nokia 550, Sam Sabri, who is managing editor at Windows Central, he gives this a buy. We should point out that in the past, when we've talked to Sam and Dan Rubino and others, it's been Windows Phone Central. Your new name, Windows Central, and it's windowscentral.com.
Exactly.
Same great people, same great content, brand new name. Thank you, Sam. Sam Sabri, great to talk to you. Really appreciate it.